Om Brahmanandam Param Sukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagan Sadrisham Tattvamasya Laksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadhi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namam. Om. Adorations to Sadguru, who is Brahman, the giver of supreme bliss, embodiment of pure consciousness, one without a second, vast as the ether, infinite, eternal, beyond the three gunas and their modifications, the supreme preceptor. Viveka Chudamani and verse number 11. We have just recently commenced this scripture, and the focus is on the basic qualifications that an aspirant must develop in order to attain liberation. Viveka Chudamani gives you clear, concise, to the point instructions. Sometimes scriptures have to be taught without red tapes. And sometimes you need to learn it blended with so many Puranic stories that entertain the mind in a special way. So the two styles of teachings have proceeded from the Vedas. The style that is like mathematics, pure vichar, and the style that is upasana. Upasana is devout meditation. When you practice meditation, devotion blended with it, there is a great room for using your own choice. Upasana is called swatantra. You are free to meditate on God led by your own feeling. You want to see Him standing? Fine. Want to see Him sitting? Fine. If you want to meditate on Him as Lord Vishnu, as Shiva, want to meditate upon Him as abstract presence, as Jesus, as Buddha, all that, you follow your own feeling. It's the whole field of art. Where there is art, there is heart. And there is swatantra. You are free. You don't have to look around people. Am I doing well? The basic instructions are always given, but in meditation you follow. If some experience arises in your meditation, you don't hold back and say, I have to tell that to my guru, and then when he says what I should do, I will do. You must use your instinct. And automatically there is instinct to know what is right, what is positive, and what is negative. When food is presented before you, you have instinct that guides you. Which one you have to eat, how much you have to take the pickle, or whether blend the pickle or not. I have just elaborated. I'm coming to the point. The 11th verse. Chittasya shuddhaye karma natu vastupalabhyate. Natu vastupalabhyaye. Vastu siddhir vicharena na kinchit karma kotibhi. Karma is meant for purity of heart, not for the realization of the self. Realization of the self, which is the same as realization of the truth, that is possible only by the subtle intellect produced by the practice of vichar, inquiry into your essential identity. I am Brahman. Even a trace of Atma Jnana, that is knowledge of the self, cannot be attained even if one were to perform millions of karmas. That's a fundamental point to study for vichar. As I said, in upasana you are free to choose. But when it comes to vichar, inquiring into who am I, don't mix up your imagination with it. It follows pure mathematics. And that aspect of the mind that allows you to do so, that's called buddhi, intellect. And intellect has to be very precise. All students of science and mathematics, they know that every problem is resolved in a especially mathematical way, with a special precision. You cannot deviate from the law. 2 plus 2 is 4. No matter how confused you are, you became artistic, say 2 plus 2 is 22, why not? So we use the term Vastu Tantra. When it comes to practice of wisdom, you have to focus your attention on the teachings being given to you and reflect upon them. If the teachings are not understood by you, you have to go on again and again asking about it. But don't make any settlement with your teachings. In other words, don't make any modification to suit your mind. Now, what does the teaching say? First, to understand, when we talk about work, karma, the teaching is that no matter whatever may be the amount of karma that you involve yourself in, liberation will not result as because of your projects. Everything in this world results from your karma. You wanted to have a mango tree, then you have to sow the seed, you have to do all that is needed and wait until the mango blossoms. And it's the result of your karma. How well have you selected the place where you will put the seed of the mango? How much you have taken care of it? All that add to the production of the fruit. And that relates to all karmas. Any project you start, you have to put in your effort in a sustained way, doing all the things you need to do, and yet you have to wait in time. when that project comes to success. And naturally you feel very delighted. You waited for such a long time. But one thing you have to always understand, no matter how delighted you are, this will pass. You will again have another project with great intensity and you will have to go on waiting for the fulfillment of your desire. Can the world give you absolute fulfillment? Try to work upon it. Answer is very simple, no. There is not a single illustration. Can't point out, here the person, look. He is still there since he came from the beginningless time, and is still there and he is very happy. Anityam asukham lokam. This world is transient, and that's the beauty of the world. Its beauty as well as its negative aspect. Nothing stays the same. Suppose early in the morning you woke up, the morning was wonderful, and you are comfortable on your bed, you look through the window, you see the sun is about to rise. And suppose something went wrong in the clock of God, and it stayed stuck. Will that be desirable? Sometimes human mind develops that illusion. Having come to a joyous state, for instance, may this state continue forever. But even if it continues for one single day, you will become exceedingly miserable. All that you experience day by day, all that experience is through the vrittis of the mind, thought waves of the mind. And every moment your experience has one foot in the past and one foot in the future. Yesterday has passed on, no matter how wonderful that day might have been and whatever negative or positive it might have had, it's not going to come back ever again. Should you rejoice it? Should you be sorrowful for it? You have to figure that out. And within few hours, this day will go on, pass on. It will not come back again. That tells you whatever you attain in the world will have the same characteristic. It will stay for a period, and then it will become a part of history. Historical books will be kept well as long as the Earth planet is healthy. One day the Earth planet itself is in a miserable state. All your attainments will scatter into wind. This therefore should be well settled in the mind. That your deepest fulfillment is not possible through any result of karma. Yet without karma you can't exist. All that you need to do to switch your angle, instead of looking for a result that happens in the world of time and space, look for a sense of fulfillment that I have performed the duty that I did. And that performance has been a form of a divine relation. It has been a form of worshipping God. I am an instrument in divine hand. And how much I have worked as an instrument, that must satisfy me more than how much I have accomplished in the transient world. This again needs to be well understood. When you switch your attention from fruit of karma to chitta shuddhi, purity of heart, that state of feeling that I have done my duty, I have done it well, that relaxes your heart. Your heart becomes free of the pressure of ego, free of anger, greed, hate. Your feeling flows like the pure water of the Ganges river. That is a greater attainment. If that your goal is, your priority is the chitta shuddhi, then you have learnt the highest secret in your life, the secret for attaining the infinite joy. But then you will say, what will happen to the work if I didn't attend to it? You didn't give whole heart attention to the works that I have to do. If I am not well fed, how can I meditate? Those are simple ways of saying, but you must realize spiritual movement is multi-dimensional. When you turn towards purity of heart, automatically action part becomes the best. Automatically you do your duty the best way you can. And the best way work is done, the characteristic of that doing is as if you have done nothing. Something that you have danced around. When the work becomes joyous, inspirational, that work becomes exceedingly qualitative, and it becomes expertly done. That follows automatically. Therefore, in the biblical teachings, seek ye the first the kingdom of heaven. All else will be added unto you. The people are not sure all else will be added unto you. Seek first the purity of heart. Others, all else, all practical needs will come to you. But if you were to say, let me seek first a good, settled position in the world, then I will turn to God. When I have nothing to worry about here, then retire, sit by somewhere, by Miami Beach, and watch the sunrise and go down, and then think of nothing but God. That's extremely ignorant view of life. You don't settle things. It's not possible. Only when you have touch of God within you that you begin to settle things. Day by day you begin to enjoy a stressless mind. And at the same time, actions continue to lead the lives of great people. That's the secret of their immense activity. And while that is so, your intellect must be very clear that liberation is not a happening in the world. Suppose you are facing a dry season. Rains are to come. Rains will be happening. That will free your mind of many stressful feelings. Liberation is not like that suddenly clouds of grace will gather and you will have nectar showering over you and you become overwhelmed. You can keep it as a figurative language. But liberation is a revelation. That's most important point. Revelation that you are always Brahman. You have entered into a magical presentation done by your conditioned mind. Very easy to understand with this example of dream. You have entered into dream world where you are facing three illusions. I am the subject. The I am of your dream is not real you. The dream world is, of course, not real. The unreal you, exploring the unreal world through limited mind and senses. Does it imply that while dreaming you are experiencing pleasure, pain, you are experiencing suspenseful situation, you are experiencing everything that life is made up of? And yet, if it dawns upon your mind to settle down in your dream world, create something that will stay forever. Suppose in your dream angels have come around you and they ask any boon. And you say to them, build for me a big palace on this mountain top. A palace that will not be destroyed ever. Of course, the angel can do that. But by that time you may wake up. Wake up to realize that no matter how clever you were, how dexterous you were in your dream to put things right, awakened state cannot be found in this while you are dreaming. In your dream you can travel all through the world, go from Australia to North Pole and anywhere. But you can't find your real healthy state. For that you need to wake up. This is what we mean by saying that karma can keep you wandering in a world of dream. It's a long dream. And in the world of dream there is no no eternity, no real attainment. But all through the process of wandering through the world process, deep down, essentially, you are the self. How do you get away from dream to the waking state? Much in the same way, you have to get away from the dream of the world process and be awakened. That awakening is not related to the dream world. Nothing in the dream world has any causal relation with your awakened state. And that applies with the world. All led by karma, you can have amazing position in the world. You can be multimillionaires, you can be very famous, very powerful, great name and fame, but don't be duped. Firstly, even in this practical world, that doesn't mean real happiness. That's just a big show. People who have lots of power and lots of success and fame in the eyes of others, deep down there is termites have entered the heart. Lots of them. So that is just a foolish evaluation of things. People look at others and say how much they have, and they begin to burn with jealousy. That's and from another point of view, all attainments in this world are transient. Your soul will move on from one body to another, led by karma. You can rise to great heights. So the scriptures make it easy. When they describe you can rise to the status of Brahma, the creator. But if you are not enlightened, having sniffed a little bit of that world of the creator, you are going to come down. You will continue to move in cycles of birth and death through countless embodiments. You can go on creating amazing attainments. For whom? Amazement for the mortal personality, who are themselves can't continue to stay amazed, they pass on. Therefore, there are many things that they are insightful. Do not become too stressed because things don't happen the way you have planned. Secondly, if things have happened unexpectedly, lot of prosperity, don't get deluded. So that is not exactly what you want. They have given you an opportunity. दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई. In pain and in sorrow, people turn to God, oh God. Come to my aid. I have taken refuge in you. Lot of japa is done. But when good thing has happened, you hardly see people rush to their pujaru, take a mala, start doing japa. But if you are really wise, that's the time when you do japa, you are not asking for anything. You are enjoying the flavor of divine name in a more calm mind. But when you are doing repetition of mantra because you want something done, then you are not enjoying the flavor of the mantra. All this needs to be understood. Little artistic change has to occur in your attitude. Not much, little change. Because the highest attainment is not dependent upon doing something amazing. highest attainment is your essential nature. You are deep down the I am, and your mind needs to explore what it means. And Vedanta gives you a very simple way to lead your mind to that realization. First you ask yourself, whom do I love the most in this world? Because mind can fool you. You can say, I love so many people, this, that. But unless you love yourself first, all things that you love mean nothing. The I am in you, the awareness of yourself, that's the source of all that you do and all type of relations you build up with the world. If you get drowned, what will happen to the world? You, I am. But then direct your attention. Who is this I am? Am I the body, physical body? The physical body, you have been calling it I am, and it has eluded your grasp. Hardly you were satisfied being 1 foot tall. The body outstretched itself. And then, body is such a mysterious thing. God always keeps it hidden under the layer of skin. Nobody can bear looking deep. I am is using the body as an instrument. And due to illusion, it has become very identified with the body. But when the body begins to give trouble, your I am sits back and says, I don't want you. I will pay a doctor to get you out. You love your I am better than the body. If you explore more, then we begin to understand you have another layer of vital forces, pranas. Vitality can be high, surge higher, sometimes becomes low. And you love that vitality. But even greater than that, the mental process, mind that controls your vital system. 1 minute of joy, your vitality surges up. 1 moment of sorrow, it goes down. Vital plane is very brittle. And then you realize I'm mind. The mind gives you a bigger range of your expansion. But even that is not really you. Otherwise, every now and then say, I have to gather my mind. If you are mind, then you won't be gathering it. Similarly, your intellect, your ego. You are always beyond the physical body, beyond the subtle body where there is pranas, mind, intellect, ego, and beyond the causal layer, which is a veil of unconscious. You are always beyond. But somehow the awareness of I am trickles down to you, and mind in a confused way goes on playing with that identity. And in that stage, confusion develops. You don't know whether you should be happy or miserable. The goal of life is the realization of the self. realization that not to be confused with fruit of karma. Things happen in the world of time and space, and they follow a causation, cause and effect. Revelation doesn't require any happening. Suppose that you look up to the sky and there is no sun. The sun is there. Even the idea there is no sun is possible because you are having a little diffused light of the sun that allows you to see the cloud and allows you to recognize it is dark. So even in that state, the sun has not disappeared. What has happened is a veil has come between your eyes and the sun. And therefore you may say the sun has gone away, or the sun is going to come back. But all these are words. Same way the self never went away. It is never going to come back. It is the shining reality. Even when you feel miserable, it is because prior to your feeling miserable, the backing of that feeling is awareness. And that awareness can change its mind. And that awareness doesn't come, doesn't go. It is not a fruit of karma. It is not a happening, but it is the very source, substratum, and the reality behind all things. That's the non-dual Brahman, the absolute self. That's what you are, whether you like it or not. So we started with little I am, and then we explore. Realize the I am in its majestic state. It's like the brilliant sun. Even that is a simile. And that I am is absolutely non-dual. What's the proof that it's non-dual? Simple proof comes to you in deep sleep. In deep sleep, your mind is not aware of duality, non-duality. Mind is not aware of anything. And you exist. Revelation is a mystical counterpart of your deep sleep. All that we will go into later, but right now we proceed further. The basic point at this stage, allow your mind to understand that liberation is your reality. You are not going to create it, you are not going to cook it, you are not going to produce it, you are not going to eat it. It's your reality. And it will never go away from you. Just like a reflected sun in a jar. What is the reality of the reflected sun? The sun. As a reflected sun, it will shake. It will be placed in miserable situations. But as the sun, nothing happens. Religion or spirituality demands understanding that point and moving in a profound way, in a subtle, internal, mystical tunnel, as it were. There is a tunnel between the reflected sun and the real sun. A subtle, mystical channel. All that is figurative. Samyak vicharatah siddha rajju tattvavadharana Bhrantodita Mahasarpa Bhaya Dukkha Vinashini. By the practice of right enquiry, Samyak Vichar, I have already given you the picture of Samyak Vichar, which means inquiring into who am I, with a very clear head, and recognizing I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect. So by the practice of Samyak Vichar, right enquiry, one gains the knowledge that the rope is nothing but the rope. It is not a snake. Simple illustration is given, snake on the rope. An illustration of mind that has become overpowered by ignorance. You enter into a semi-dark room and suddenly step back. There is a snake waiting for you. It has lifted its head, flickered its teeth, rather the tongue. And when light is brought, you find it is just a rope. It didn't even raise its head, nothing. Many things come, build up. The entire world process is superimposed, so that we use the term superimposition. Snake has been superimposed upon the rope. Who did it? Not a real snake. It's illusion. Nobody is at fault. Your own way of looking at it. If you see it in proper light, then there is no snake. If you experience the world through an enlightened intellect, there is no world. Seer, seen and sight, this relative consciousness which experiences the world has three aspects. The seer, I am the subject. This is the universe where I am. And I am experiencing the world through mind and senses. The entire threefold illusion is superimposed upon Brahman, the absolute self. The moment the truth of the self is comprehended, the fear and misery arising out of the great snake is destroyed. So all the fear and misery and sorrow that are experienced through the mind, that moves away. Another illustration, look at the sky. Think of yourself a patch of blue, a little piece of the sky circled by clouds. As such, you are dependent upon the clouds. You are at the mercy of the clouds. If the clouds move away, you are becoming bigger, shinier. If the clouds begin to close up, you are being choked. But if you were to discover, I am the sky, and the clouds have done nothing to me to restrict me, then clouds are still there. Patch of blue is still there. All sorrows are gone. All pain and misery suddenly disappears. Therefore God is called Lord Hari. He steals them all away. Haran Karna kidnaps them. Ordinary kidnappers kidnap one or two things. He takes away all the three aspects, the seer, seen and sight, time, space and causation. With this I conclude. Oh, I didn't plan that.
What day is today? And do I have to go to work today? And that semi-in-between dream and waking, is that sort of where we're at right now? Like, because like we know on some level intellectually that I am Brahman. Like I get that, I know that, but I get that here, but then here, kind of forget that as I go along day to day. So I'm wondering if that.
Firstly, dream is always a simile. It cannot exactly compare. Secondly, as simile, it is perfect. You are like in a dream. Suppose in your dream, it dawns upon your mind, this is a terrible situation I am in, and I am dreaming. Theoretically, you know it is a dream. How do you wake up?
Yeah.
There also you have a transition between theoretical knowledge and practical waking up. Follow the same simile. That whole dream process may take only short time, but that's in a broad way. When a person is an aspirant, you have come to know that somehow you are dreaming. And as such, the dream world is not really pleasant. But which way should you stretch your hand and feet to get out of this? That your hands and feet are your intellect, your emotions, your actions, how to integrate. So there comes in yoga as an answer. Yeah.